Hi, this is Rachelle with Scrapcraftastic, and I recently participated in the Jewel Box No Hoarding Challenge. This challenge happens, I think, once a month, and I believe the next one is July 25th. This is 2020, and you kind of just use your Jewel Box supplies or whatever supplies you have if you're not entering to win the prize. But so the purpose of the challenge is to use your stash, basically to use your jewel box stash if you have jewel box items or whatever stash you have. Some people make tons of things. You can do planner layouts and make dashboards for your planners. Basically, you're free to do whatever you want to do. So I decided to kind of do what I like to do, and I made 2 journals. This first one is a hardcover journal. It has chipboard. I doubled the chipboard because it was kind of a thin chipboard, but it has chipboard covers, and this is what it looks like. And these papers are from the Jewel Box, the outside cover and the inside. And then what I did was just put a variety of art papers on the inside. So I have some watercolor paper, some drawing paper. I do have some regular cardstock in here, and I also have some marker paper. So I will be using this as an art journal. I had this little palette charm that I've been holding on to in my stash for a very long time, so I decided to put that on here. This is not finished. I need to do the closure and add a tassel along with the charm, but this is where I am with that. And then the other one that I made, this was actually the one I started on first. I've been holding on to the envelopes that the Jewel Box products come in. They're nice envelopes. The paper quality is really nice. And so I decided I would use them somehow in my junk journals or to make a journal. So I used this one. So I took a variety of papers. So I put 12 sheets in here, so that yields 48 pages plus your cover. So I used black cardstock. This is one of the papers from the Jewel Box. This is just some regular paper, vellum, and yeah, so I didn't even do anything special like add pockets or anything like that. It's just very simple. That leaves me the freedom to design or add to it however I want to. So if I just want to come in here and write and use it as a regular journal, I can. I put the black pages in here in case I want to use some of my pens that work great on dark paper, so I can get some use out of those. The vellum, again, you can use it for writing. You can glue things in, stick things in, however you want to use it. But that's what it is. And then of course we got the pocket here, and if I wanted to, I could actually open this front piece and use it as a pocket as well. Again, I don't have a closure on here. I left the strings on the outside so that I could add beads or whatever and have some decorative touch on the outside, and not always leaving the tails on the inside. I wanted them on the outside for this one. So, and if you notice here, I trimmed the tails down on the string so they wouldn't hang out. I didn't cut them down completely. But anyway, so I posed the question on Instagram asking if anyone was interested in a tutorial on how to make those, and so I got a few responses, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. And I'm going to start with the easier one, which is the soft cover. This is the easiest journal you can make. To me it is. And you don't have to stitch. You can staple, and I have videos showing you how to staple if you don't have a long arm staple. I'll link to that here. But I will be stitching today, and you don't have to use any special type of thread. You could probably use dental floss if you wanted to. Okay, so these are just some of the scrap papers that I have left. So I'm going to put my scraps away. So scraps away, these are the papers that I pull. This journal has, like I said, 12 sheets in it. So I'm going to stick with that number. I think if you put too much, if you start adding things to your journal, it's going to be too wide and it's going to gap open. If that doesn't bother you, no biggie. It's not going to, I don't think this one would have that big of an issue because the covers are a little bit bigger all the way around, and it is a soft cover, so it could probably handle it, but I don't want to overdo it. I'm going to keep it simple. So I'm getting my paper trimmer out. because we're definitely going to need it. So in the original journal, I didn't use any scrapbook papers. I used pretty much just the jewel box papers and just random papers that I had laying around. But for this version, I want to get some use out of my scrapbook papers. So I pulled these 3 sheets out. Then I have 3 sheets of, this is regular 24-pound black paper. And so then I have the pink paper, I have black cardstock, craft colored cardstock. My cardstocks, the plain cardstocks, I get these from Michael's. I will see if I can find them online, and I'll link to them in the description box below if I can find them. This is dot grid paper that I printed myself. It's double-sided. This is a piece of the jewel box paper that I've been holding on to, I would say probably for a year. And this is the envelope that some of the jewel box items that I ordered came in. Now this envelope is a little more beat up than the other one, but I'm going to use it anyway. I think it's going to be fine. And yeah, and I was thinking I could probably even reinforce this flap, have a little tear right there, but I think it's going to be fine. So we're going to start with the envelope, and you don't have to have a decorative envelope like this. So you could actually use the large envelopes like these. I think I have some, but I don't have any close by. They also sell them in white, so you could use white, and you can paint these, stain them, spray them, treat them however you want. If you're into coffee dyeing, you could coffee dye or tea stain. So you're not limited to having an envelope like this. I'm just using these because I have them. They came with as part of the packaging, so I'm going to use them. So let's, and I feel like the shop, the jewel box, took the time to decorate these envelopes like this. I should use it, put it to use. Okay. So I'm just going to fold this in half neatly. Make sure it didn't buckle on the inside. And then I'm going to make sure that my first page is a piece of cardstock. So I'm going to use the black cardstock. And the reason I'm doing that is because this is a soft cover. It's flexible. So I want something to add a little more stability. So I'm going to use the cardstock first. And I'm just going to fold these pages in half. You can make your pages different sizes. They don't have to be all one size. I'm just keeping it simple with using the 8.5 by 11, folding it in half, and yeah, I don't have to worry about making things fit. So I'm going to use this one as a guide somewhat. So the next page would be, do I want that on the outside like that? So this next page is a page from the jewel box, and again, you could just use your regular scrapbook paper. And what I do is I line my edges up when I'm folding and want a good crease. I line my edges up, then I press down the bottom of the fold, and then use my bone folder and just slide up to give me a good crease. And so that goes there. Next page was the pink paper. And I know I don't have to put these all in the same order. I'm just a little obsessive like that. Okay. So bear with me and my foolishness. Okay. I'm not using vellum, so I'll put something else there. And then I had 3 sheets of the black paper, a couple of sheets. Oh, I didn't use the purple paper. Okay, so we're not going to be able to stick completely to this, so I can set that aside. Okay. So I think I want to mix it up a little bit more than I did. And let's just fold these. I'm not going to put all the black pages together. And I don't like to fold multiple pages because for some reason it never seems to line up right. So, and usually I only use the bone folder when I'm folding a piece of cardstock or something heavyweight. because I can get a pretty good crease just with my finger. And also, that was the way I showed you where you fold it down at the bottom. That seems to work better with cardstock. With regular paper, let me show you what I usually do. I don't want that many black pages together. So with thinner paper, I'll fold it in half, make sure my corners are lined up, press in the center, go up and down. That's easier for me when I'm just folding by hand. So we're back with cardstock. And that's just like a minor detail, but it does help when you're trying to get a nice clean fold. And you have to decide what order you want your papers in, what looks pleasing to you, what works for you. And I'm going to fold this, but I'm going to hold off on putting it in for now, because I want to go ahead and trim these up. Okay, so I'm going to trim these down to 8.5 by 11. I've had these papers for a very long time, and I need to put them to use. It's time to use up the paper. So 8.5. That is nowhere near 8.5. And these journals will be great. It's nice to have a journal that you made yourself, and it will be great because a junk journal July is right around the corner. So if you're not into junk journaling, you can still journal and just, you know, I don't know what it is, but I just feel freer to write in something that I've made. I was thinking about this yesterday because I have a new planner for July, and I'm so hesitant to use it, and there's no reason for that, but I am hesitant to use it. But when I make something myself, I don't have a problem using it. I feel the same way about printable inserts. That's what really made me think of it. Yeah, I was adding some inserts to one of my DIY planners, and I'm like, I just am more apt to use a planner that I made myself. So yeah, same thing with the journals. It's nice to buy a nice, clean, pretty journal, but I never end up actually using them. I just feel like I'm more apt to use something that I made myself. Now, I folded both of those with the pattern on the outside. I don't think I'm going to fold this one with the pattern on the inside. Change it up a little bit. And we need 8.5, not 8. So, okay, let's, oh, what did I say? And you could even decorate some of your pages, add a little punching, do a little stamping, but I'm just doing it very basic, very clean, so that when I'm ready to use it, I'm free to decorate and design however I choose. Okay. So we have these extra pages. I think this actually looks nice up against that, but I'm not gonna do it. Let's put this here. And you do have a little page creep. If that bothers you, then you could easily use a blade to trim it off. I'm not going to worry about it because the envelope cover covers that up for the most part. So unless it gets to be much bigger than this, and it could, because I'm using more cardstock in this one than I did in the other one. Let's put this, maybe I'll use this as the center of the signature. Yep, I think I will. And then I want to keep the, let's use this. Okay. And then we got one more. Do I have too many pages? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is 12. Where do we want to put it? Right here. I don't like that every other page is black and white. Let's do that. Okay. So we do have a little more page creep than the other book. Again, you can use a blade and a metal ruler to trim that off. Let me see if I want to trim it. No, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. But it is bugging me. Okay, I'm going to run to my heavy duty paper trimmer and trim this off real quick, and then I'll be back. You could even take these out, and this is what I did when I didn't have all of my tools. I took each page out and trimmed off, kind of measured it or marked it right here on the top, and then I just took my paper trimmer and trimmed each page off individually. But I'll be back after I cut off the page creep. Okay, so I trimmed off the page creep. As you can see, it's nice and even now, so let's go ahead and get this put together. So I'm going to use my punch cradle. You don't necessarily need this. You could use an old foam book. You could use just a piece of foam. A book would be better because you want to have this open at an angle similar to this. So when you're punching your holes for your sewing, this is the position you want it in. And I think that's like a 90-degree angle. You need a couple of binder clips or large paper clips or something to hold everything in place. You want to make sure all your papers are lined up the way you want. I don't think I have any directional stuff in here. But if you have papers that need to go in a certain direction, you kind of want to take care of that also. And position everything nice and snug in the crease or where your binding will be. Then clip in place. Let's see, is that lined up just right? Okay. Okay, so my cradle is a little small, so I'm just going to take the one end off. It gives me a room to work. I'm going to get my saddle stitch templates. So I have these templates available on my website at scrapcraftastic.com. It is a printable, so I just printed mine out and laminated them, and then I trimmed them up. So this is what they look like, and I'm going to use the half page or A5 because basically what we have here is a half page. So put this one back on here, and I just punched holes in, I hope I was in frame, but I just punched holes in the corners of them and put them on a book ring to keep them together. Here's another one that was trying to escape. Okay, so I haven't used this one before, so it doesn't have holes yet. So I'm going to place this and line it up with my page, and I'm going to choose which holes I want to use for my stitches. So I'm going to use definitely the center. I have this retractable craft pick, or pokey tool as we like to call them, and this is available at Amazon. I think they have them at Michael's. I'm not sure about Joann, but I will link to it in the description box below. If you're making journals, this is something that you definitely will need. So I'm going to poke a hole through the center. Then I'm going to choose, I think I'm going to go with the outside holes. Nope, I'm going to go with this one. And then, oop, don't move it. Okay. And you could just, after you've used the template and poked a hole in it, you could just take a mechanical pencil and draw where you want to poke the hole, and then take this out and poke your holes. But I think we're good. Okay, so now I got 3 holes. Put the pokey tool up. Put my punch cradle back together. The punch cradle, I ordered it from someone over in the UK. I don't think they're making them anymore, but someone gave me a link to another version, and if I can find that, I will definitely link to it in the description box below. So this is my bookbinding kit. So I have elastics in here for traveler's notebooks and things like that, all different kinds of threads and needles, and this isn't all. They also sell these on Amazon. I prefer the craft pick because I feel like I have a little more control, but this does come in handy as well. And you see I keep my needle stuck in a little piece of foam. I'm not going to be using that needle, but yeah, I keep all of that in here, keep it all together. So I'm going to use, actually I need to put this back in here. This is also waxed linen thread. I ordered it from Amazon. If I can find it again, I'll link to it in the description box below. I have a whole set of different colors of this waxed linen thread, but I'm going to use the black because I think it's a nice complement to the colors we're already using. Let's see if I can fit this down in here somewhere. It used to go in there. Okay, there we go. So that I don't waste thread, I just kind of measure 2.5 lengths. Some people do 3, but I don't, because I find I waste a lot doing that. So I cut it down to 2.5, and I didn't cut that very well. But usually when I cut this, because it's waxed, it helps to go through the needle a little better if it's cut at an angle. So I cut it at an angle, and hopefully I can do this. Still not a very clean cut. I kind of take my nails and flatten the thread so that it will go through the head of the needle easier. I'm not sure where I got this needle or what needle it is, but it has a pretty large eye, but the eye isn't wide. It's long and skinny, so you don't want anything too wide. I mean, I make kind of big holes here because I don't like struggling getting the are we going to leave the strings on the outside? Yeah. So I don't like struggling to get the needle and the string to go through, so I kind of poke a little bit bigger hole than some people. Since I'm going to leave my tails on the outside, I'm going to start on the outside and go through the center hole, and then I'm going to go up through the top, back out to the back. Oh, I poked some big old holes. It's really easy going through. I'm going to pull this string kind of over out of the way, not too much, because it will rip the paper, but I don't want I'm going to try and keep my needle from going through the string that I've already put in the hole. I just want to go next to it if possible. This is like the trickiest part. This and tying it off. I may not be able to do it. I'm going to clip this out of the way, which is usually what I do, and see if I can get through here. There we go. Okay. Don't pull too tight. It needs to be snug, but not too tight. So I'm up through the middle again. Now I'm going down through the bottom. And then I'm going to tie it off. Now I'm still figuring out how I like to tie things off. I'm going to take this underneath that top stitch and pull it through. And then I'm going to pull everything as tight as I can without ripping the paper. But I don't know if that's going to work for me. I'll just take my needle off. Stick it here in the thread for now. And check that it's tight on the inside. You want it to be kind of tight. If it's not, I'm going to take the knot out and see if I can get it a little tighter, because that's just too loose for me. You want it to kind of, you know, be able to flick it and it still bounce back into place because it's tight. But again, you don't want to rip it. That's better. Okay. So that is it. Then you can embellish however you see fit. You can put a closure on, but you kind of have to keep in mind that you have this envelope flap here, so you can store things in there, supplies, papers, pictures, whatever you need. This one is a little bit more stiff as far as the fold because I used more cardstock, but now I have a pair. Also, this one had a little blemish on the cover. I tried to peel everything off as best as I could, but it had a little blemish. So I will probably put some kind of decorative piece on the cover. And yeah, so now I have 2 handmade journals ready to go. I can use them for Junk Journal July or just to write in, or like scrapbook journaling. I don't know. This is what it looks like. So I hope you enjoyed this and I found it helpful. And if you decide to give this a try, let me know in the comments, and also be sure to tag me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you post on social media if you post a photo of what you created. So that's it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the little gray bell so that you'll receive notification each time I upload a new video. Be sure to check the community tab and my stories for updates throughout the week. Also, check us out over at patreon.com/Scrapcraftastic for exclusive content and digital downloads. Visit my other channel, Journal Life's Journey, for live craft videos, junk journals, and weekly vlogs. You can find me across social media at Scrapcraftastic. Visit my website and shop at Scrapcraftastic.com. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.